So I've already made a video just like this for the Anycubic i3 Mega, and I figured I would just go ahead and make one for the Creality Ender 3. Because up until today, I didn't really realize that you could do this with the Ender 3, but I guess if you have an extruder that's like this, that goes into a tube and then feeds into the hot end, you can do this. With the Anycubic, it's a little bit more difficult because you're coming up from the bottom end. With the Ender 3, it's actually a ton easier. A ton easier. When I first started 3D printing, I realized that I had a bunch of pieces like this, or, you know, a small roll, or even something like this that's just the length of the tube. Because every time that I changed, even in mid-print, every time that I changed the plastic, the PLA, and I will say right now that this is basically just for PLA. I haven't tested anything else. Flexible filament cannot be done like this. If it can, make a video of it, share a link, but in my experience, it's way too flexible and you have to have a rigid plastic in order for this to work. And I guess if you had an extruder that was on the outside of a closed-in area, like for ABS. See, I have to print my ABS in a box or in a closed-in area, and then that puts my extruder on the inside of the box. And then it's really hard to do this. So I'm sure you could do it, but it's so hard, so difficult, that I'm not going to say it works, you know. But it does work for PLA. So I am going to say that right off the bat. This video is just PLA, changing your PLA filament. And the Anycubic i3 Mega one should have been, I should have said in that it was just for the PLA, with a strong chance of it working on other rigid filaments. I would have to press the pause, take the filament out of the tube, and if the tube is longer, like the Anycubic i3 Mega has a longer tube than the Creality Ender 3, I would have quite a bit of plastic, and it always feels like you're just wasting plastic when you have this much plastic left. Not only are you wasting plastic, but when you press pause and then change the plastic out and put a new plastic in, on the Creality Ender 3, this doesn't have it, but it develops like a lip. Like you can feel where you've changed the plastic on it, and it's a weaker area. On the Anycubic i3 Mega that I've changed it on, these are the only two that I've done this with. On the Anycubic i3 Mega, it does like a stitching, and no matter what, on either machine, it always leaves a weaker area where you've changed the filament. Really, the only way to change the filament, I think, is to do it like this, and you can see up close that this has no stitching like the Anycubic i3 Mega does, and it has no lip or anything in between the color changes. It's just a flawless piece, like one piece. It's continuous plastic. And that's really what you want. And you just got to be careful. That's it. You've just got to be careful with it, and you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to have enough room to move your 3D printer around. And I'm going to show you the first steps now. So anyways, we're going to start here in the back before we get there. Before you get to the printer, there's one thing that you want to do is every printer comes with these, so you should have a pair of these here. You want to make sure, and on the ends, a lot of times, which I've already done this to each one of these in preparation for this, but a lot of times when you take the plastic out of the hot end, this part will be pointed because you're taking it out, the plastic's still melted, and as it goes up through the tube, it'll be all pointed and crazy on the end here. So the first thing that you want to do is square it up as much as you can. So you just kind of come in here with some clippers, get it as square as you can. What I do is I look down the top here, and if it's crooked like that, you can tell. I just try to get it as straight as possible. See, that's just a little bit crooked. Go back on here. This is important. There we go, now it's straight. And then I just take the ends, and you can just kind of work it. You don't want it to curve, because you're going to be putting pressure behind this. So the piece that you're going to be exchanging in through the extruder, you want about that much to be straight, just like that. Okay. Okay, when I was editing the video, I noticed that the gears, the light on my phone shined off the gears, and there was a part that you couldn't see on this, so I'm having to refilm it with a different camera. This one should be better anyways, it's 4K. It's just easier to bust my phone out to take video. So we're straightening this up as much as we can. I've already cut this as straight as I can on the end. Pretty straight. And now I've got my other here, which is black, which is a lot better. In the other video I was going from gray to white, and you could barely tell the difference between the two different ones. So on this one, it's going to be a lot easier because black, you can see on anything. So you can see how far it is from the extruder here. What I typically do is about right here, kind of just put it on the end. See how far back my fingers are? You don't want to go too far forward, because if you're all the way up here, then when you get up there, you're going to have to make an adjustment, move your fingers back because of all this. So I always get this started right on the end with my fingers back here, for the mere fact of like getting used to where my fingers are, how much force it takes to push on it and stuff. And then just kind of keep it steady as you go in. Now, just kind of apply a small amount of force as it's going forward. Not very much, don't push hard. I'm already having to make an adjustment. But when it gets to the gears like this, then push. Push a little harder until the gears take it. Then you can let it go. There we go. And you can see that it is taking it. The cool thing about this one is this piece of filament has the tracks on it from the gears from the last time that it was in an extruder. So you can actually see the gears moving, and you can witness that. But what I typically do is grab the side here in the back, and you just kind of hold it with your fingers, and if you can feel it pulling through after you can't see it in here anymore. If you can still feel it pulling, then it's going, and it's going through the tube. If it wasn't going through the tube and it got stuck, then you would hear this making like a click click sound, and the filament wouldn't be moving at all. It'd just be slipping. So that's how you do that. And if you shine a light in here, you can actually see, let me take this light here. You can actually see where the black is, see that there? And where the gray is. A lot of times you can see the two different colors as it goes through. Now I'm just going to take the rest of this, and you can just hang it up there. You can keep coming back and checking on it, and then probably about 45 minutes to an hour this piece will be done. You can see the start of the black going on there. And that is a flawless transition from gray to black. And I don't know if I'm even going to need another color for this one. Let's see though. Yellow's next, I think. If you're wondering about the electrical tape here and this tape here, and why it's only in these parts, there's a specific reason for that, and I'm planning on making a video on it. My bed was slipping off and jamming up in here.